All right, deep divers, welcome back. You guys already know TikTok can be a serious cash cow. So this time we're diving deep into the secret sauce, TikTok analytics.
Ooh, I like that secret sauce.
Right, they're your treasure map. Okay, maybe that's a better analogy.
We like that one too.
2, figuring out what your audience wants and how to give them more of it and more engagement. Well, that's how those brand deals start rolling in.
It's amazing to me how many creators just completely forget about the data. Like, they just hit record and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But you got to listen to what your data is telling you. You need to understand how your audience is behaving.
Oh, absolutely. And think about some of the biggest TikTok stars out there, like Charli D'Amelio or Khaby Lame. I mean, they didn't just magically attract millions of followers. They used data.
Yeah.
They tapped into trends. They created content that people actually wanted to see. And that's exactly the kind of strategy we're breaking down for you guys today.
And the coolest thing is TikTok makes it so easy to actually access all this information.
Yeah.
You just need to switch to a pro account.
Yeah, it's super simple to do. Just go to your settings, manage your account, and boom, you're a pro. You'll see this whole new world open up in your analytics dashboard with 3 main tabs: Overview, Content, and Followers.
Yep. The Overview tab gives you that big picture view. It's like taking a step back and looking at the overall landscape of your TikTok presence.
Okay.
You can see how many views your videos are getting, if your follower count is trending up or down, all that good stuff.
So it's like checking the pulse of your TikTok.
Exactly.
Okay. But what about profile views? If those are going up, does that mean people are actually interested in me as like a creator or a brand?
It totally does. If your profile views are rising, that's a good sign that people are curious about you. They're not just watching one video and moving on. They're clicking through to your profile, which means they could be checking out your other platforms or even your website if you've got one linked.
Okay, cool. So we've got that bird's eye view from the Overview tab. But let's zoom in a little closer. What kind of intel can we get from the Content tab?
This is where things get really interesting. You get to see what's happening with each individual video. And trust me, there's one metric in this section that reigns supreme: average watch time.
Okay, yeah, I've heard about average watch time. It's like TikTok's favorite child or something.
Totally. The algorithm is obsessed with it.
Yeah,
The longer people watch your videos, the more TikTok loves you.
it makes sense.
And to get people to stick around, you absolutely need to hook them in those first few seconds. Think about those videos that use quick cuts and ASMR sounds.
Yeah.
Like Emily Mariko's food prep videos. They are so good at keeping people engaged.
Oh my gosh, I get sucked into those every time.
Right. They're so effective.
Okay, so we've got that killer hook to grab their attention. But what else can we learn from the Content tab?
Okay, so there's a section called Trending Videos, and it's pure gold.
Ooh, tell me more.
It shows you which of your videos are really hitting the mark with your audience. This is where you analyze your top performers and start looking for patterns, like what formats are working best, what topics are really resonating, what time of day did you post them.
So it's like TikTok is giving us the cheat sheet to our own success.
Yeah. You can study your successful videos and start to refine and repeat those winning elements.
Okay.
But don't be afraid to experiment either. Try new types of videos. Play around with different lengths and topics. You never know what might take off.
Makes sense. So we've checked out the Overview tab. We've gotten into the nitty-gritty with the Content tab. Now let's move on to the Followers tab. What kind of insights can we get from there?
This is where we really start getting to know your audience on a deeper level. And it's where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
First up, there's follower activity, which tells you when your followers are actually active on TikTok.
Okay, that's got to be super useful. I mean, timing is everything on social media. If I know when my audience is online, I can make sure I'm posting when they're most likely to see it.
Absolutely. Then you've got top territories, which shows you where in the world your followers are concentrated. So like maybe you notice that a lot of your followers are in a specific country. So then you can start thinking about trends that might be popular in that region and tailor your content accordingly.
It's like having a global map of your fan base.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Okay, what about gender distribution? I'm assuming that's pretty important for knowing who my audience is.
It is, especially when you start thinking about brand collaborations. Let's say your audience is primarily female, like
Right.
fashion influencer Brittany Xavier. Well, that's super valuable information for brands that are trying to reach that demographic.
So brands really care about that.
Oh, they definitely do. They want to know that you have the audience they're looking for.
Okay, this is all starting to make so much sense. We've
Yeah.
got all this incredible data at our fingertips,
Yeah.
but how do we actually use it to create content that people are going to love?
That's where the real magic happens. It's all about taking all this data and turning it into action. Remember that trending videos section we talked about in the content tab?
Yeah.
That's your starting point.
Okay.
Study those high-performing videos. Really break them down. What format worked? What topics did you cover? What time of day did you post it?
So it's kind of like we're reverse engineering our own success.
Exactly. You figure out what's already working and do more of that.
Makes sense.
You take those elements, refine them, repeat them, make your content strategy so much more targeted, but also don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of TikTok. It's all about trying new things. Play around with different types of videos, different lengths, different topics. You never know what might take off.
Like Zach King. He's always pushing the boundaries with his editing tricks.
Exactly. He's a master at adapting based on what his audience responds to.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. Don't get discouraged by the videos that didn't perform as well.
Okay.
Even low engagement can be a valuable learning experience.
So it's not a failure. It's data.
I love that. It's
Yeah.
feedback.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, okay, was the video too long? Was the topic just not that interesting? Did the style fall flat? You can take all those insights, make adjustments next time.
I'm starting to see how powerful this all can be.
Yeah.
We can use this data to figure out what's working, what's not working, and constantly refine our approach.
Exactly. And here's the key. TikTok is constantly changing. So you have to be adaptable too. Trends come and go in a flash. The algorithm is always evolving. And that's where those analytics come in.
Right.
They help you stay ahead of the curve.
It's like our secret weapon
Totally.
in the ever-changing world of TikTok. Okay, let's talk about engagement for a second. It seems like everyone's obsessed with boosting engagement on TikTok. What are some actionable tips we can use based on our analytics?
Okay, well, first let's talk about those captivating hooks. We mentioned this earlier, but I think it's worth repeating.
Yeah.
Those first few seconds of your video are so crucial.
It's brutal out there. I feel like if you don't grab their attention immediately, they're scrolling right past.
You gotta stop them mid-scroll.
Yeah.
Ask a question, make a bold statement, start with a visually arresting image.
It's like creating this little mini cliffhanger
Yeah.
that makes them need to see what happens next.
Exactly. And once you've got them hooked, you want to keep them engaged. That's where calls to action come in, or CTAs.
Right, like comment your favorite or tag a friend.
Exactly. They encourage interaction. They make the viewers feel like they're part of the experience. And the more likes, comments, and shares you get, the happier the TikTok algorithm is.
So it's like this chain reaction of engagement, goodness.
It is.
Okay, so we've got our captivating hook, we've got our calls to action. What else can we do to boost that engagement?
Don't underestimate the power of trends. Think about Addison Rae.
Yeah.
She's a master at leveraging trending sounds, hashtags, and challenges.
Right.
When you tap into what's already popular, you have a much better chance of getting seen by a wider audience.
It's like you're riding a wave.
Yes!
You catch the right wave and you can ride it all the way to the top of the For You page.
Exactly. But it's not just about blindly following trends. You want to find ways to make them your own.
Right.
Put your unique spin on them.
Authenticity is key. Okay, so we've covered hooks, calls to action trends. What about TikTok Live?
Oh, TikTok Live.
That seems like a whole other world.
It is a fantastic way to connect with your followers in real time.
Yeah.
Answer their questions. Build those relationships that turn casual viewers into loyal fans. And you know what?
What?
Analytics can help you maximize your lives too.
Well.
You can use that follower activity data to see when your followers are most active
Okay.
and schedule your lives for those prime times.
Or
So you're basically using data to guarantee a bigger audience.
that's awesome. Okay, I'm starting to feel like I'm getting a real handle on this whole analytics thing. We can use it to create awesome content,
Yeah.
connect with our audience. But let's be honest here. A lot of us are here because we want to figure out how to actually make money on TikTok.
Right.
How do we turn those views into dollars?
I'm so glad you asked. Because that's what we're going to talk about next. We're going to talk about the ultimate goal for so many TikTokers.
Right.
Landing those brand deals.
Yep.
And you know what? Your analytics are going to play a huge role in making that happen. Brands are smart these days. They don't just care about how many followers you have anymore.
Right.
They want to see an engaged audience. People who are liking, commenting, sharing, all that good stuff.
So it's not just about quantity, it's about quality.
Exactly. And that's where your engagement rate comes in. It's like your secret weapon when you're talking to brands. It shows them that your audience is active. They're not just passively watching.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do we actually show off our engagement to brands?
When you're pitching to brands, don't just tell them about your content. Show them the data.
Okay.
Include those key metrics in your pitch. Average views, engagement rate, demographic reach. Let those numbers do the talking for you.
So it's like presenting a data-driven case for why they should work with us.
Exactly. Now remember, TikTok is constantly changing.
Yeah, for sure.
Trends come and go. The algorithm is always evolving. You got to stay adaptable.
So basically, we can't just set it and forget it.
Yeah. Nope. You need to be paying attention to your analytics, monitoring your comments, keeping an eye on what other creators are doing.
Stay on top of things.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to experiment and refine your strategy as you go.
This is a lot to keep in mind, but it sounds like it's all worth it in the end.
Yeah.
So where do we even begin?
I would say start with those key metrics we talked about: watch time, engagement rate, follower activity, demographics. Once you have a good understanding of those, you can start experimenting with your content.
Okay.
Try different types of videos, test different posting times, see what works best for you.
It's all about learning by doing.
Exactly. And don't forget to have fun. TikTok is a platform for creativity and expression.
Oh, for sure. All right, so we've covered a ton of ground today. We talked about how data can be our guide. Action is key, and we've got to stay adaptable and have fun along the way. Any final words of wisdom before we wrap up?
TikTok analytics are powerful tools, but they're only as good as the actions you take based on them. So go out there, experiment, build a TikTok strategy that's both data-driven and authentically.
This has been an awesome deep dive. I'm feeling so much more confident about using analytics to up my TikTok game. Now, before we go, we want to leave you guys with something to think about. How are you going to use everything you've learned today to craft your next viral TikTok? What story will you tell? What trends will you use? How will you turn those scrolls into a thriving community of engaged followers?
The possibilities are endless, so get out there, keep creating, keep diving deep.
Until next time, happy TikToking.